All right, yesterday, an Atlanta grand jury indicted former President Donald Trump and 18 others, accusing them of criminally conspiring to overturn the 2020 elections.
The indictment alleges that rather than abide by Georgia's legal process for election challenges, the defendants engaged in a criminal racketeering enterprise to overturn Georgia's presidential election result.
Well, that was District Attorney of Georgia's Fulton County, DA Willis, making the announcement last night. And this is the fourth indictment of the former president, and it carries a potential sentence of 5 to 20 years. So what's behind these specific charges? And with a former president currently in a commanding lead for the Republican presidential primary, what can we expect from here? Well, joining me now by phone to break this down further is Matt Whitaker. He is the co-chair of the Center for Law and Justice at the America First Policy Institute, and he's a former acting attorney general for then President Trump. Matt, welcome to Washington Watch. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Jody. Good to be with you, my friend.
Well, thank you. All right, Matt, listen, let's try to break this down. Let's begin just with your initial reactions to the indictment last night. Yeah,
I mean, it's obviously, I think, a little surprising how broad, the prosecutor went. I think, you probably know as well as anybody that this prosecutor is looking for political fame and trying to promote her own political career, and has put together as I've dug into it deeper, a pretty flimsy document. I mean, I'll just give you one example. Your former colleague, Mark Meadows, is charged with the conspiracy, the RICO offense, which is usually used against criminal organizations for asking for somebody's phone number. I was a little rattled by that when I read the indictment. And so those are, I just think that, this famously, and you know American history, but I think Lincoln once called someone's argument as, thin as a suit made from the shadow of a sparrow that had died from starvation. I think that's kind of what we're dealing with right now in this indictment.
Yes, it kind of, I wasn't sure how to really respond to this whole thing of racketeering. The former president and others were charged, as you mentioned, with the RICO violation. Walk us through this. What does this mean? And why would the Fulton County DA use this particular charge?
Yeah. So, I mean, typically a racketeering organization or, kind of a RICO offense is a big criminal organization. If you think about it, almost like a criminal company, that does, robs banks, murders people, threatens, does kind of, the crimes across the board in furtherance of the business of crime. And in this case, from everything I've read and what I know about it so far, is it looks like they pretty much just went after anybody that asked questions about the, voter, voting machines integrity, the what was happening, did any kind of investigation into, the Georgia election in 2020. There's just going to be a lot more, I think, that comes out on this, especially evidence-wise, and I think we're going to be surprised how much there's not a lot there when you get to the bottom of it.
Well, what do you say to our viewers and listeners who remember ever how long it was, 4 years, whatever it was, Democrat politicians in the same scenario to be accused of conspiring to overturn an election? I mean, this is not just something new that's happened in this past election cycle. Democrats have complained about this type of outcome with elections in the past themselves. What would be the difference?
I don't remember the specific facts and circumstances of, for example, Stacey Abrams and her believing that she won the election, but it's very similar to that. Again, people were trying to put together what happened and, whether there were not just irregularities, but whether there was, fraud or malfeasance. And they kind of each kind of pursued different avenues. And so that's, from what I can tell, a lot of what they've piled into this conspiracy. And, the thing about RICO that's very interesting to me and how it's being used by this prosecutor is, it's not limited to the state of Georgia or Fulton County. They have, they're bringing in anything anybody alleged to have done nationwide. It seems to just be such a broad, reaching indictment for, just one local elected DA. I mean, it's going to be very interesting how this plays out over the course of the following months.
Well, if we can switch topics in just a couple of minutes that we have remaining.
Sure.
Earlier this week, Hunter Biden's attorney said that he is confident that there will be no new charges filed against Hunter. Here we go with the special counsel. Why would he say something like that?
Yeah, that's wishful, wishing and hoping. But, at the same time, they appear to continue to be blowing statute of limitations into the benefit of Hunter Biden. All these tax years are kind of falling off the back end, and he can't be charged for those, and he can't resurrect them. And so I think that, this special counsel, and I said it, earlier this week, is just appears to be kind of part of a chess move that, Merrick Garland is just trying to do all he can to outrun this case and to never have Hunter Biden see justice because, he just keeps adding to it. It's been going on for 5 years, the investigation. A lot of, the biggest tax years and the felonies that should have been charged have already fallen away in 2014 and 2015. So, I'm very concerned that, Weiss, who tried to cut this sweetheart deal in the first place, is ever going to do anything that, brings Hunter to justice for all the influence peddling and corruption that he really was the center of.
Less than 30 seconds. Are you concerned that we may be watching a two-tiered system of justice?
We have a two-tiered system of justice. There's no doubt. I mean, we have a weaponization of not only the Department of Justice, but, Democrat-elected prosecutors, Jody. And I just think that's, it's not going to be good for our republic. And I worry about the long-term.
Very concerning. We're going to have to leave it there, yeah. Matt. Thank you so much. Matt Whitaker from America First Policy Institute.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.